I do have a few comments on my Hyperion update, but before I get into the handful of comments I have, I really am pleased to introduce the council and the community this evening to what I consider the expert in the field of wastewater treatment plants. We were fortunate enough to be able to retain the services of Dr. Michael Stenstrom, who has been working with us now for a few weeks, and he's kindly joined us briefly this evening for this introduction. And we will be working with him on all the issues related to Hyperion, specifically some of the more technical items that we have to deal with, where he's just very understanding of chemicals and particulate matter and so forth and so on. So dealing with AQMD, with the staff over at Hyperion and the engineers, we're looking forward to working closely with Dr. Stenstrom. So before I ask him to say a couple words, Michael Stenstrom is a distinguished professor in the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department at UCLA. He joined UCLA in 1977 and has more than 40 years experience in teaching and research related to water and wastewater. Prior to joining UCLA, he worked for 2.5 years with Amoco Oil in Chicago, where he designed petroleum wastewater treatment plants. At UCLA, he has managed more than $10 million in research grants and contracts and has mentored 60 students to the completion of their PhDs. He has held several administrative positions, including chair of the CEE department and associate dean. He's published more than 500 papers and is considered an expert in aeration systems and large treatment plant design and operation. He's a frequent consultant to industries and cities that want to improve their wastewater treatment. He's worked with the City of Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation on all 4 of their treatment plants, the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts, and is currently working with the Great Lakes Water Agency of Detroit and Miami-Dade. He was recruited by the City of LA Board of Public Works to be the principal author of the report that documented the causes of the 2021 Hyperion flood and the recommendations to prevent it from occurring again. Dr. Stenstrom was actually the chair of that advisory committee. So with that, if you could just say a few words, Dr. Stenstrom, we appreciate it.
I'm pleased to be of assistance to the city of El Segundo. I understand you've been gassed a lot lately, and I know something about treatment plants. I know where those gases typically come from and what sorts of industry standard state-of-the-art techniques are to control those. And I'll admit that working for the city of LA is difficult. It's really hard to have a contract with them if you're not a minority business. And the agencies are big, and the people that are in the agencies have a lot of experience, but it's usually only at one treatment plant. And I have experience at more than 200 treatment plants. And so I'm anxious to try to help the city of El Segundo resolve their issues with the Hyperion treatment plant and to improve their overall performance, both in reducing odors and other problematic things, as well as helping them into the future, because we need them to reclaim wastewater in the future. So I'd be pleased to answer any questions that you have. And we meet Thursday mornings for 30 minutes on average, so I'll be in close contact, and I look forward to working with the city.
First, thank you so much for your assistance. We've taken this extraordinary step of retaining our own expert because, frankly, the people in this town no longer trust what Hyperion has been telling us. We've been living through this for years now, and we look forward to using your experience and your knowledge to help explain what's going on and set a clear path forward. And I believe that since you've come on, you've already set up a meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Stenstrom has helped us set up a meeting. I believe it's March 22nd, our kickoff meeting with the staff and the executive director over at Hyperion.
Right. So that you're already opening doors for us, having conversations, the tough conversations we need to have. So Thank you for that, sir.
You're very welcome. Well,
And just as a recap, we used Dr. Stenstrom previously, when, at the beginning, correct? No,
No, well,
the city of LA did, okay.
maybe the city of LA, yeah,
Okay.
but we were in contact with him as part of the original ad hoc advisory report.
Okay,
And it's led into this now, retaining of his services, so.
just for clarification, thank you.
If
So,
I,
Just curious, that report, so the 33,
Yes.
the recommendations that came from that
that was the report.
report
Yep.
of the ad hoc committee with the
Correct.
33 recommendations. So you authored that? Okay. How are we doing in terms of progress towards that end?
It's my understanding that maybe we've got about a third of those recommendations that have been satisfied. I don't know, I believe we've,
well, the 33 recommendations, I would like to sort of say there are three categories. One was a category to prevent the spill again. The second was a category of how they should notify people. And that's an easy one to solve because it doesn't require construction. The third category was longer-term issues that would ensure against a future spill. For example, one of the issues that we recommended, and these are mostly capital improvements, which were largely my efforts, but one was to contour a road differently so that if there was a spill, it didn't flow into the electrical headworks and so forth, something that might have been done differently by design. But we did not recommend, and I believe this will happen while I work with El Segundo and the city, about future improvements to odor control. Hyperion has odor control. I would say it's rather conventional odor control, but UCLA does research, and I'm not an odor expert, but I work closely with one, and we have some recommendations for treatment plants on improving odor control. Now, you've been experiencing hydrogen sulfide, which is not a pleasant odor, and it's actually toxic. But after you eliminate hydrogen sulfide, which is what the Hyperion plant is designed to do, you still can have other odors that aren't so pungent initially, but have longer-term effects. And among those are two compounds, geosmin and MIB. And so one of my goals in this project is to get Hyperion to test for those, which may be odor panels, and then to adopt treatment strategies to remove them, because they can be a little different than hydrogen sulfide removal. So I believe what will happen is that we will correct the problems that led to the flood, but I'm hoping that we can do more advanced odor control that will be an example to other agencies. And I note that the Orange County Sanitation District has already pursued some of these, and I will be trying to build on their experience.
Just as a follow-on, one of the things we asked is for Assemblymember Marisucci's office to author a bill. We started with Ben Allen, State Senator Ben Allen, and then moved to Assemblymember Marisucci, who embraced the idea, mirrored after the fence line monitoring at Chevron, that he authored as well. Do you know, Mark and Daryl, if the current language of that bill, I don't know how far along it is in terms of context, but that it includes, I know we wanted many different chemicals monitored, but does it include these two explicitly that he mentioned?
I'll let Dr. Stenstrom know. It includes H2S, which is the hydrogen sulfide, and it also includes NOx and includes VOCs, and my understanding is those fall into those categories.
Yeah, they gave me the list, and the list was so inclusive at the time, and I didn't know that all of those could be monitored in real time. And I thought that that might be a showstopper for the bill. So I reduced the list, or I recommend reducing the list. And we included in the list an opportunity for other chemicals that will arise. Right. And that's where I think these other two chemicals will come up. And they're not unknown. you may have experienced these taste and odor problems because sometimes those compounds are in drinking water and they result from algae blooms, but they can go through the treatment plant and come out. And the most important thing is that they're not treated by the current control methods. And it's not that Hyperion's lacking about these two compounds, it's that it's sort of new territory. But I'm hoping that we can bring that in, and it will be an example for other treatment agencies.
Yes, yeah, absolutely on that. And Dr. Stenstrom did work with us on the initial language, and it's really in the early stages. The bill number has been identified. It's in committee, not a committee, it's in, there's several layers of getting these bill, but we've been told that there will be opportunities throughout the process before this actually gets heard on the floor up in Sacramento, which is probably won't take place till June or July, for us to modify the language, should we need to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If I might, just a couple quick updates. Regarding the primary tank covers, actually starting today and then for the next 10 days, there'll be measurement activities for the new primary tank covers. During the work, the old covers will be lifted up for the accurate measurements, which may release some odor. In order to reduce the odor...
Did we put notification on that?
Yes.
Okay, so the public's already seen that on our website as well?
Yes.
Okay, great.
In order to reduce the odor nuisance, only a limited number of the covers will be removed at a time. The work hours will be limited between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. during the weekdays. As for an update from AQMD, they've reported that in the last 2 weeks, complaints have been relatively low. They received a total of 14 odor complaints since February 21st, with a single-day high of 5 complaints on February 22nd, and evidently that was from the same person on that day. There were 8 days where they received no odor complaints. No notices of violation have been issued now since January 17th. AQMD staff continues to evaluate Hyperion's compliance with conditions under the order for abatement. And then finally, Hyperion's reporting that since the last council meeting, Hyperion has submitted a report to AQMD detailing all equipment undergoing refurbishment or planned to undergo refurbishment within the next year, with a timeline for each. And finally, Hyperion submitted odor mitigation work practice operating procedures for the truck loading and unloading facilities to AQMD. So they are regularly now reporting things to AQMD. And that concludes the update. Thank you.